Hi, I'm Rich Wisneski. Welcome to Storytime.
Of the bananas.
Last week on Storytime, I took a break from the usual format to talk about an observation I made in the DCEU universe films. You can find a link to that story. Oh no, new positioning. There? Yes, I am very aware that there's a cat, like, right there. So anyway, based on your feedback and some recent stories that you may have seen circulating in the news, I was asked some more questions about my thoughts on the DCEU and where they could go from here. And as it turns out, I have quite a few. So, if you'll indulge me, Storytime today is going to be my recommendation for how the DCEU can go forward from here. Now, in the spirit of Storytime, I'm going to just say all this conversationally off the top of my head without going back and checking any facts beforehand. And then, let's make this a dialogue. Do you have opinions on what I say? Chime off on the comments below, and be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so that you can be up to date with all the videos here on To Karen with Love. So without further ado, let's talk about the DCEU. I rhymed. That was a rhyme, Fat. So the biggest criticisms of the DCEU have been their tone, and that they're being too Marvel reactionary. So the first criticism looks like it's already being addressed. Wonder Woman was wonderful. Shazam looks like a lot of fun. Aquaman looks like a lot of fun. And the new Wonder Woman movie is being set before some of the sad stuff that we've already seen, so it's allowed to maintain its positive, cheerful tone. Plus, that movie also fixes the problem of, well, what happened to Wonder Woman for 100 years? Now, as Movies with Mikey said best, and there's a link up here if you'd like to see that essay, put Patty Jenkins in charge of the DCEU, like make her your general, and I think then tone is addressed. So my suggestion is to institute drastic and intense change while simultaneously doing things Marvel has failed to do, or took too long to do, relying on things the DC has already done correctly. You can do all of these things in one movie, and if you do it correctly, the audience will not only accept this radical reboot, they'll applaud you for it. I suggest the next Justice League film be A Crisis on Infinite Earths. As I touched upon a little bit in my Dick Grayson storytime last week, Crisis on Infinite Earths was a story where there was a creature called the Anti-Monitor. It is a being of antimatter, and it is... you can't reason with it, it's just a force of nature. It's like a Galactus, but for existence as opposed to a planet. It will destroy all things. And what the Crisis of Infinite Earths allowed DC to do is it took their jumbled hodgepodge of too many course-corrected timelines and alternate universes and allowed them to put it all together into one universe. A Crisis on Infinite Earths is a major DC milestone, so it'll make the comic book fans happy, and it's also essentially reboot the movie. So you have the opportunity to completely remake your universe, because the end result is whatever patchwork quilt you want to make of your universe, there is a accepted in comic book story of how you can do that. It's kind of perfect. So my first suggestion, and it's the biggest one, is make one of your big three a person of color. It's bold, and you have the context and reason to do so. Gal Gadot is doing great, and she is locked into her contract, and looks like she's happy to be Wonder Woman, so I wouldn't recommend her. So I suggest that you take Superman or Batman and make them a person of color. My next big suggestion would be include your television universes. This is something that Marvel's been criticized for, and you get the opportunity to get the jump on them. Take your Arrows and your Flashes, and your Supergirls, and your League of Extraordinary Nonsense People. I'm sorry, I don't watch that other show. It looks like it could be a lot of fun, I just haven't seen it yet. Take people from those universes and give them a cameo role. You're going to be bouncing between multiple universes and have hodgepodges of people together, so why not use people that you've already done? And to be extra bold, get Kevin Conroy to be Batman Beyond Bruce Wayne, or get Mark Hamill to be an aged Joker. Don't advertise them, let it be a surprise. If you put those two characters in, people will lose their minds and the message boards will blow up. Also, introduce diverse characters. Be bold. Have fun. You can literally patch your cinematic universe together after with whatever parts you want, and it's okay because that exists within the story. Give as much representation as is feasibly stomachable for the grumpy old white people that run your company. Next, there are dozens of celebrities, big and small, who love comics and would sign on for scale to be someone that's untenable for them to be in the long term. So get like Nathan Fillion, put Lady Gaga in there, go snag yourselves a CM Punk. Now, one point of contention is Crisis on Infinite Earths, spoiler, ends with Barry Allen sacrificing his life. Now, you have your actor playing the Flash signed on to be the Flash some more, and he's one of the better parts of your movie. So my suggestion is, lock up Ben Affleck for one more film. Have Barry set up the sacrifice the way it is in the comics, and then at the last minute, twist it so that it's Bruce Wayne Batman giving the sacrifice. Why I'm suggesting that is it's a peace offering to what you did before, and also tying back to my first point of having one of your big three be someone other than a cis white male. You're already planning on making a Batwoman film. So you can have in-universe Batwoman be your Bat character in the big three, honoring the sacrifice of someone who came before without just sending them back to their home planet off-screen. So that leaves you with a completely rebooted universe that you can show with whatever amalgamation or hodgepodge of characters you want. You can set in whatever tone you want, and you can retroactively say anything you didn't like didn't happen, or anything you didn't like because it wasn't explained properly can now be explained. It's the perfect reboot, and people will love it. So that's the full of my suggestion. These are two bonus suggestions, and you can ignore them and it's fine. The first bonus suggestion is do a spite casting. Get a Tobey Maguire or an Andrew Garfield or an Ed Norton to be a one-off villain. Do it just for spite, and give your internet fans who 5-star your movies, even though they aren't great, just something to troll about. The other one would be to bring back Ryan Reynolds. Bring him back as Hal and stand by your film. After Crisis, you can retcon anything out that you didn't like, but it would be a bold move, and I think it's the kind of bold move you would be respected for, and I also think a CGI-appropriate Ryan Reynolds would be a good fit for your new world. So those are my suggestions of what I would do were I in charge of fixing the DCEU. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We are a neophyte channel, and we could use all the support we can get. We are To Karen with Love. I am Rich Wisneski. Thank you very much for joining me for these Sunday Story Times, and be sure to check in every week for brand new content from me! I have fellow collaborators and creators on the station who also post great content, so the best way to be updated when there's new Karen things is to stay with the bell. Ring that bell, please. I'm a professional. You can tell because of this cat. For Sunday Storytime, I'm Rich Wisneski. Thank you kindly.